Ivanka Trump has her fair share of critics, but she's not interested in swinging back at any of them. The 43-year-old daughter of Donald Trump recently appeared on the podcast Meaningful Minute, and she spoke about why she doesn't plan to engage in what she called evil speech. There is a concept in Judaism called lashon hara, which is, I think, quite literally translated to evil speech, Ivanka said. The idea that speaking poorly of another is almost the moral equivalent to murder because you can't repair it. You can apologize, but you can't repair it, she continued. Another component to that is that it does as much damage to the person saying the words as it does to the person receiving them. As the mother of three explained, the concept keeps her from clapping back at any negative commentary aimed in her direction. I think about that a lot. I talk about this concept with my kids a lot. I'm not willing to pay the price of that fleeting and momentary satisfaction of sort of swinging back because I think it would be too expensive for my soul, she said. That's how I made peace with it because that feels more true for me. While Ivanka played a significant role in her father's last presidential campaign and administration, she said in a 2022 statement that she didn't plan to be involved in politics going forward, according to CNN. I love my father very much, she said. This time around, I am choosing to prioritize my children and the private life we are creating as a family. I do not plan to be involved in politics. This is what each member of the Trump family will or won't do in the White House. During his second term, a few members of the Trump family will act as unofficial White House advisors. Ivanka Trump, who was a senior advisor during Trump's first term, has decided not to return to politics. Unless she is appointed to the Senate by Governor Ron DeSantis, Lara Trump will remain the co-chair of the RNC, as quoted in a report by Insider. Family members of President-elect Donald Trump will continue to play a significant role in his political campaign, even though they may not have as many official White House positions as they did during his first term. Lara Trump is the most seasoned leader, serving as co-chair of the RNC, with Melania Trump returning as First Lady. Senate seat for Marco Rubio in the event that he is confirmed as Secretary of State. Barron Trump, Donald Trump's youngest son, has also started getting involved in politics and giving his father advice on how to win over younger voters. Ivanka Trump and Tiffany Trump, two other members of the Trump family, will not be in the spotlight. Melania Trump carried out her responsibilities as First Lady during Donald Trump's first term, including organizing state dinners, advocating for children's welfare through her Be Best campaign, and decorating the White House for Christmas. Nevertheless, she was also known to defy the role's expectations and break White House tradition. Melania Trump made infrequent appearances with her husband during the 2024 campaign and declined Jill Biden's invitation to meet at the White House after the election. She is unlikely to live at the White House full-time. With few exceptions, it seems that their children will hold fewer government positions than in their previous term, although they will have their own shares of power in the shadows. In a country obsessed with political dynasties, even if they are not real, the Trumps have never been equated with the Bushes, the Clintons, or, of course, the Kennedys. Nor have the former shown the slightest interest in succeeding those three families of American political nobility, nor vice versa. Trump campaigned in 2016 against two of those dynasties, the Bushes, in the form of former Florida Governor Jeb, and the Clintons, with Hillary, and he defeated both. The rise of another family that seemed promising in the Olympus of Washington, the Cheneys, was cut short by the base when they made the suicidal mistake of opposing Trump for his January 6, 2021 coup attempt after losing the elections. Liz Cheney went from being a potential candidate for the presidency of the House of Representatives, the second position in the presidential line of succession, to a political corpse. The only exception to the rule is the president's nephew-grandson, John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has joined Trump. But it is no less true that this has cost him public excommunication from his family. In reality, RFK Jr., as he is known in the United States, is nothing more than the exception to the rule, even though Trump is considered the de facto successor of President Kennedy by a large part of his older voters and also by followers of the QAnon conspiracy theory, which claims that the future White House occupant is fighting alone against a network of pedophiles controlling the world. And yet, the Trumps are, like it or not, even if they don't like it themselves, a dynasty. However, a very different dynasty from the others. The Kennedys, the Clintons, the Bushes, or the Cheneys projected an image closer to that of a European royal family, with their share of scandals, of course, but also with a sense of state and manners that pointed to that characteristic so ineffable of 21st century royalty: discretion and the will not to get involved in useless disputes. The Trumps, on the other hand, with their faces loaded with makeup, starting with the patriarch himself, and Botox, their bodies molded by silicone, and their tendency to be photographed in settings with more chromed metal objects than the chest of a North Korean general in full dress uniform, break with that tradition. But their control of the United States government is much greater than that of any of their predecessors. Now, the new American royalty is preparing to return to the White House, with a distribution of roles very different from what they had in their first reign, from 2016 to 2020. The family nucleus surrounding Trump seems to have undergone a significant change. His wife, Melania, is no longer with him. The relationship between the president and his wife never seemed good in his first presidency. In the second, apparently, it is non-existent. Throughout the electoral campaign, Melania only participated in 2 events. When Trump visited Joe Biden at the White House last week, she did not even show up. The big question now is whether Melania Trump will move to Washington or stay in Mar-a-Lago, Florida, or even if she will return to New York. When Trump was first elected, he delayed his move to the federal capital by 6 months, arguing that he wanted to stay in New York, where his son Barron, the only child he has with Melania, would finish the academic year. But Washington, the most democratic city in the United States, shunned the Trumps in general and Melania in particular. The result was 3.5 years of trips to New York, or relationships with New York friends whom she gave jobs at the White House. With one of the closest, Stephanie Wolkoff, a psychological and even physical copy of the First Lady, the relationship ended in a falling out, with a book included in which the former friend criticized Melania harshly. It is understandable that she does not want to repeat the experience. There is also another element that, they say, has caused an irreparable deterioration of the relationship between Trump and his wife: the lawsuits against the president-elect for his sexual escapades. This year, Trump has been definitively convicted of sexual abuse against writer E. Jean Carroll and for violating electoral legislation in his relationship with the porn actress Stormy Daniels. This is not something that should have surprised Melania much. After all, Trump was married to his first wife, Ivana, when he got involved with what would be his second wife, Marla Maples, whom he later cheated on with Melania. Of all the things she could expect from her husband when she married him, fidelity was not one of them. Almost as uncertain as Melania's role is that of Trump's favorite daughter, Ivanka, and her husband, Jared Kushner. Officially, neither of them will be in the government, unlike in the first presidency. The couple will remain in Miami, where Jared manages an investment fund that, according to his enemies, is a kind of money laundering operation that countries and entities turn to for favors from the Trumps. This would explain the $2 billion that the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund put into the entity in 2021, at the express order of the country's strongman and Jared's ally, Mohammed bin Salman, and the $1 billion that 2 other petro-monarchies, the United Arab Emirates and Qatar, have now contributed. but the fact that Javanka, as Trump's ideologue, Stephen Bannon, derogatorily called the couple when they were in the White House, not having official power does not indicate that they will not have real power. Jared will have a lot of influence in Trump's Middle East policy, where he will try to forge a peace agreement between his financiers, the Gulf Arabs, and his family friend, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, which could include Israel annexing more Palestinian territories and the forced relocation of Palestinians to Jordan, something that Jordan does not want. But the most striking absence is that of Ivanka's brother, Don Jr., who was attributed a similar role to the one she had in Trump's first presidency. Don played a central role in this year's election campaign, and his character, much more combative and less aristocratic than his sisters, had gained him enormous popularity among Trump's base, who saw him as the legitimate successor to his father. However, according to the financial news agency Bloomberg, Don Jr. will not enter politics, but rather join the 1789 Capital Investment Fund, specialized in investing in companies with conservative corporate culture and management models, which includes rejecting environmental protection policies, promoting minorities or women, or a pro-LGBTQ+ stance. Additionally, Don has a complicated family situation. Divorced and with 5 children, his relationship with his fiancée, Kimberly Guilfoyle, ex-wife of California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom, one of Trump's biggest political enemies, is constantly plagued by persistent rumors of the president's son's infidelity. Like father, like son. Now, the appointment of Florida Senator Marco Rubio as Secretary of State has led the most Trumpist sector of the party to urge the state's governor, Ron DeSantis, to appoint her as senator until the next elections in 2028. If Lara Trump succeeds in becoming a senator, her story will be one of how someone with no experience or interest in politics reached the highest positions of the American establishment thanks to a good marriage. Finally, there is Tiffany, Trump's daughter with his second wife, model Marla Maples. Her father has never held her in high esteem, at least compared to the children from his first marriage. But her influence in the presidential circle has been steadily growing, serving as a stabilizing force against Eric and especially Don, who at times, they say, get hot-headed and do not give the best advice to the patriarch. In any case, no one foresees her entering the government, among other things because she does not seem interested. Neither will Barron, who is studying in New York and also has an autism spectrum disorder, which greatly limits his participation in public events. History has shown that those who embrace the Jewish people benefit, and those who persecute the Jewish people ultimately face spectacular defeat, the president-elect's son-in-law wrote. Jared Kushner, the son-in-law of President-elect Donald Trump, pledged on Monday that he and his wife Ivanka Trump would donate $1 million to Chabad of the United Arab Emirates in the wake of the killing of Rabbi Zivi Kogan. Kushner, who was one of the architects of the 2020 Abraham Accords that established relations between Israel and the UAE, said the Emirates is committed to fostering harmony between Jews and Muslims. In the UAE, people of all faiths and backgrounds thrive together in an environment of mutual understanding and respect, Kushner wrote. Ivanka and I will be donating $1 million to the Chabad of UAE and will redouble our efforts to work with the Jewish community and the country's leadership to build a resilient, vibrant Jewish community in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. To all who wish to aggravate these historic divides, know that your efforts only strengthen the resolve of the Jewish community to contribute to societies that respect and welcome us, he added. History has shown that those who embrace the Jewish people benefit, and those who persecute the Jewish people ultimately face spectacular defeat. Kushner's brother Joshua announced that he and his wife, the fashion model Karlie Kloss, would match Jared and Ivanka's $1 million pledge. The Emirati police have arrested 3 Uzbek nationals suspected of murdering Kogan, a Moldovan-Israeli dual national living in Dubai as an emissary of Chabad, one of the largest religious Jewish organizations in the world, with branches in scores of countries. Kogan went missing on Thursday, and his body was discovered in the Emirati city of Al Ain, near the UAE-Oman border on Sunday. Iran has denied any involvement in the incident amid suspicion that the Islamic Republic might have orchestrated the killing. A fund for Kogan's widow Rivki seeks to raise $1 million. At press time, it has raised almost $700,000. Ivanka Trump was captured celebrating on election night 2024 after her father, Donald Trump, had won the 2024 presidential election. This marked a significant moment for the former first daughter, who had largely retreated from the political stage after her father left the White House in January 2021. At 43, Ivanka has spent the last 3 years embracing a high-profile yet apolitical lifestyle. From jet-setting around the globe and mingling with A-list celebrities like best friend Kim Kardashian, to overseeing the meticulous renovation of a $24 million mega mansion on Miami's exclusive Indian Creek Island, her focus seemed far removed from Washington. Ivanka and her husband, Jared Kushner, purchased the 6-bedroom, 8.5-bathroom mansion in April 2021. Located in a gated community often dubbed the Billionaire Bunker due to its elite residents, including Tom Brady and Jeff Bezos, the property initially featured a neo-classical design. However, the couple opted for a sleek, modern overhaul. The renovations spanned over 2 years and transformed the home into a contemporary masterpiece. The exterior was painted a crisp white, complemented by edgy black trim, replacing the original wooden accents. Industrial-style modernity took precedence over the mansion's traditional aesthetic, while the soaring 26-foot-high ceilings and double staircase from the original structure remained intact. A chef's kitchen, spa-like primary suite, and reimagined pool cabana with a sauna, steam room, and cold plunge pool reflect the couple's dedication to luxury and comfort. The backyard swimming pool was completely overhauled and reinstalled, creating a stunning focal point for outdoor entertaining, per the state website and app. While Ivanka's return to her father's side on election night sparked speculation about her future political involvement, she has remained tight-lipped about her plans. However, her decision to appear during such a pivotal moment suggests she may still need more time to be done with the political world. Ivanka Trump, the second child of President-elect Donald Trump, shared life lessons she's learned over the years to commemorate her recent birthday. On October 30th, Ivanka Trump turned 43 years old. She took to X a few days later to share tips and insights she's learned and come to cherish throughout the years. The first lesson she shared was simple: family and friends are everything. She went on to encourage others to nourish and nurture their relationships with the people they care about. She wrote, "Check in on them and let people know you care, even across distances." The second lesson was to simply forgive people. She said doing so frees you more than anyone else. She went on to remind others that everyone was sent to teach you something, and encouraged people to avoid gossip while choosing their words wisely. Everyone was sent to teach you something. Trust yourself. Identify your core values and live in alignment with them. This may mean setting firm boundaries for yourself and with others, she wrote. On a health and wellness note, Trump emphasized the importance of nourishing your body by eating whole, locally grown, nutritious foods that can fuel your energy and spirit. She recommended getting sunshine daily, saying that it makes the rest of your day and night better. She also shared the tip of bringing awareness to your hidden patterns, or they'll quietly script your life story as if it were destiny. Trump also said one of her life lessons is to move your body daily, whether that's through lifting weights, playing sports, or embracing a sense of play. Strive for 3 daily wins: a physical win, a mental win, and a spiritual win. she wrote. Trump also said it's important to guard your peace while cultivating self-mastery by focusing inward. Another life lesson she shared was, be open to the truth wherever it leads. Listen, reflect, challenge and grow. Cultivate creativity and expansion in life and embrace new ideas, connections and art. She added, get curious about your partner, your kids, your friends and the world around you. Quoting Dolly Parton, Trump said it's important to approach people and life with love and positivity. Additionally, she stressed the importance of spending time on what truly matters, saying, every choice is a trade of your time and energy. Trump also said, what you judge, you cannot understand. Instead, observe, study and learn. To conclude her life lessons, she also said, here's to another year of growth, love and meaningful moments. Donald Trump's daughters have been in the public eye from a very young age, even before the former president stepped on the White House. Tiffany Trump was raised in California by her mother, Marla Maples, and Ivanka Trump was raised in New York City with her brothers Eric and Don Jr. Ivanka was also known to be a socialite and was a famous face in the NYC scene, as she was also friends with Paris Hilton and attended multiple exclusive events. The two sisters had different experiences growing up, including in college. The pair attended the University of Pennsylvania, with Ivanka studying the same business program as her dad at the Wharton School of Business, while Tiffany decided to start a career in the School of Arts and Sciences. Ivanka was seemingly laser-focused on her education, leaving off campus. One of her former classmates, Jared Work, revealed to the Daily Pennsylvanian that she was always ready for her classes. My sense was that she was a little removed from the typical bar scene in college, but I feel like she always handled herself with a lot of class and dignity, he said to the publication in 2017. Meanwhile, Tiffany became a member of the Kappa Alpha Theta sorority and was interested in her social life as well as her education. Tiff was really, really sweet. You never would have guessed from where she came, a source said to Philly magazine in 2019. Tiffany went on to major in sociology with a concentration in law and graduated in 2016. And while the pair seemed to have different experiences, they would later work together on the family business. Long before she took a job in the White House, Ivanka Trump became used to the spotlight. When she was in elementary school, paparazzi followed her in an effort to get a comment on her parents' very public divorce. She co-hosted the Miss Teen USA pageant as a teenager, appeared with her father on The Apprentice as an adult, and even made a cameo on the teen drama Gossip Girl with her husband Jared Kushner. In a way, Trump was able to use her spot in the public eye her advantage, growing her career first as a model, then as a female executive in the family business and an entrepreneur for her own fashion line. Before her father announced his run for president, Trump was never really the object of the criticism and derision she is experiencing now. Her professional roles required no clarifying explanations, and she remained largely removed from the political scene. After my father declared his candidacy, it became that all the things that I was doing that I was praised for, the same people, the critics, viewed them through this different lens. Somehow, all the same things they applauded me for as a millennial, as a female entrepreneur, were now viewed very cynically as opportunistic, she told the New York Times. These criticisms will likely continue to dog her, but she's the subject of such curiosity and fascination because it's clear she has the full admiration and trust of her father. What remains to be seen is how and when she will use that influence. The Trump family, circa 1986. Donald Trump with daughter Ivanka at the premiere of the film Stepping Out on September 23, 1991. Donald and Ivanka Trump during Maybelline Presents 1991 Look of the Year in New York City on September 3, 1991. Donald Trump wearing a Yankee baseball uniform with children Eric and Ivanka at a Police Athletic League softball game held at Yankee Stadium in Bronx, New York. Donald Trump and his daughter Ivanka in Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach, Florida in 1996. Ivanka Trump walks at the Mugler Haute Couture Autumn Winter Show in 1997. Ivanka Trump poses for Harper's Bazaar in 2007. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner at the Narciso Rodriguez fashion show in New York City on September 9, 2007. In this handout image provided by Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner attend their wedding at Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, New Jersey on October 25, 2009. Ivanka Trump on holiday with her husband Jared Kushner in Porto Curvo, Sardinia on August 19, 2010. Donald Trump with his children from left, Donald John Don Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump and Eric Trump at Trump Tower in New York City on July 6, 2016. Ivanka Trump walks on stage to deliver a speech during the Republican National Convention at the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. Ivanka Trump, with her husband Jared Kushner and their children, depart after her father, President Donald Trump, formally signed his cabinet nominations into law in the President's Room of the Senate on Capitol Hill in Washington on January 20, 2017. Ivanka Trump arrives at the U.S. Capitol before the inauguration of President-elect Donald Trump in Washington on January 20, 2017. Vanessa and Donald Trump Jr., L., Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner salute the crowd after dancing on stage during the Freedom Ball at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center in Washington on January 20, 2017. President Trump and Ivanka Trump walked aboard Marine One as they head to F-500 Link Dover, F-500 Link Air Force Base from the South Lawn of the White House in Washington. Justin Trudeau sits alongside Ivanka Trump during a roundtable discussion on women entrepreneurs and business leaders in the Cabinet Room of the White House in Washington. Angela Merkel and Ivanka Trump talk before a meeting with President Trump and business leaders in the Cabinet Room of the White House in Washington, D.C. on March 17, 2017. Ivanka Trump attends a news conference with President Trump and Jordanese King Abdullah II in the Rose Garden at the White House on April 5th. President Trump listens while Ivanka Trump speaks during a video conference with NASA astronauts aboard the International Space Station in the Oval Office at the White House. At the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin, Germany on April 25, 2017. Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump board Marine One at the White House in Washington, D.C. for a trip to New York City on May 4th. Tiffany Trump is Donald's daughter with his second wife, Marla Maples. The fourth Trump child is named after the iconic jewelry store and has grown up away from the spotlight with her mother in Los Angeles. She was the first and only child of Donald Trump and his second wife, Marla Maples. She was named after the Tiffany & Company jewelry store in Manhattan at 5th Avenue and 57th Street, adjacent to Trump Tower. Tiffany spent much of her early childhood in New York, where the majority of her father's real estate empire was based. She was a regular fixture in high society circles as she accompanied her famous parents to glamorous events like New York Fashion Week. Tiffany was often pictured alongside Trump's 3 children from his previous marriage, Eric, Donald Jr. and Ivanka, at family celebrations. Tiffany had a decadent childhood in her time spent between her family's New York and Florida properties, even taking over part of the Trump Mar-a-Lago resort for a Titanic-themed 5th birthday party. After Trump and Maples divorced in 1999, Maples moved with her daughter to Los Angeles, where she said she raised Tiffany as a single mother across the country from her father. While living with her mother in California, Tiffany attended the Viewpoint School in Calabasas, California, a kindergarten through 12th grade school that today charges $31,205 for yearly tuition. Though she was based in Los Angeles, Tiffany regularly visited New York to see her father and was even photographed at a Mets game with him and his then-girlfriend Melania Knauss. As Tiffany became a teenager, she made more public appearances, usually alongside her father. In 2011, Tiffany released a pop electronic single called Like a Bird. She told Oprah Winfrey at the time that though she was focused on college, "We'll see in a couple of years if I actually do want to take it to the next level, to a professional level." After graduating high school in 2012, she made the move back to the East Coast to attend her father's alma mater, the University of Pennsylvania, where she double majored in sociology and urban studies. Her older half-sister Ivanka, who had years of success with her own fashion label, helped Tiffany score an internship at Vogue in the summer of 2011, where she reportedly had lunch with legendary editor-in-chief Anna Wintour. Tiffany gradually became a socialite in her own right after appearing at fashion and art events around New York City. Considered to be part of a group of wealthy young socialites called the Rich Kids of Instagram, Tiffany was often pictured alongside Andrew Warren, son of a New York real estate investor, Gaia Matisse, great-great-granddaughter of Henry Matisse, and E.J. Johnson, son of Magic Johnson. Though she was still a college student, Tiffany was noticeably on hand for some early appearances ahead of Trump's presidential bid, like a 2015 interview with Barbara Walters. The future first daughter's profile was also rising on social media, where she posted images from glamorous vacations and scenes from her life on campus for more than 150,000 of her fans on Instagram at the time. She now has more than 1 million followers. Tiffany made a splash with an unexpected speech at the July 2016 Republican National Convention in Cleveland, Ohio, where she painted a glowing picture of her father, saying, "He's always helped me be the best version of myself." As the campaign waged on, Tiffany was often present for big family appearances after her May 2016 graduation, while Donald Jr. and Ivanka emerged as the siblings with the biggest formal roles on Team Trump. An October 2016 Saturday Night Live sketch poked fun at Tiffany's less formalized role in the campaign, as cast member Vanessa Bayer, playing Tiffany, sang that she killed that convention speech, no lie, but I'll never be Ivanka in your eyes. Tiffany began a new venture after the election, starting law school at Georgetown University in the fall of 2017 after she was spotted visiting Columbia, Harvard, and New York University. Tiffany has kept up occasional social appearances during her studies, including at New York Fashion Week in her first few weeks of classes. Though she's largely kept a distance from Trump's first 2 years in office, Tiffany has joined her siblings at official appearances, including the White House Christmas tree lighting ceremony. Her close proximity to her father's administration in the public eye has sometimes put some of her suspected political beliefs under a microscope. After Trump's administration didn't acknowledge LGBT Pride Month for the second year in a row, some were surprised when Tiffany was pictured her friend, fashion designer Andrew Warren, celebrating Pride in New York City in June 2018. Tiffany turned heads in and outside of Washington when she wore white to the February State of the Union, a statement color that's connected to women's suffrage. Tiffany's reported romantic relationship with Michael Boulos, the son of the owners of a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate based in Nigeria, has also attracted interest, following Donald Trump's reported statements that parts of Africa were shthole countries. Tiffany's social life came under scrutiny when a March 2019 trip she took to Belgrade, Serbia for 10 days cost taxpayers $23,000. It piled on to the controversy around her father's many pricey trips to Florida. While some may joke that Tiffany is the forgotten Trump, she has built her own star power over the years. And at 25, she has years to make a name for herself. Tiffany married Michael Boulos in 2022. Now Tiffany Trump is pregnant with first child. Long before she took a job in the White House, Ivanka Trump became used to the spotlight. When she was in elementary school, paparazzi followed her in an effort to get a comment on her parents' very public divorce. She co-hosted the Miss Teen USA pageant as a teenager, appeared with her father on The Apprentice as an adult, and even made a cameo on the teen drama Gossip Girl with her husband Jared Kushner. In a way, Trump was able to use her spot in the public eye her advantage, growing her career first as a model, then as a female executive in the family business and an entrepreneur for her own fashion line. Before her father announced his run for president, Trump was never really the object of the criticism and derision she is experiencing now. Her professional roles required no clarifying explanations, and she remained largely removed from the political scene. After my father declared his candidacy, it became that all the things that I was doing that I was praised for, the same people, the critics, viewed them through this different lens. Somehow, all the same things they applauded me for as a millennial, as a female entrepreneur, were now viewed very cynically as opportunistic, she told the New York Times. These criticisms will likely continue to dog her, but she's the subject of such curiosity and fascination because it's clear she has the full admiration and trust of her father. What remains to be seen is how and when she will use that influence. The Trump family, circa 1986. Donald Trump with daughter Ivanka at the premiere of the film Stepping Out on September 23, 1991. Donald and Ivanka Trump during Maybelline Presents 1991 Look of the Year in New York City on September 3, 1991. Donald Trump wearing a Yankee baseball uniform with children Eric and Ivanka at a Police Athletic League softball game held at Yankee Stadium in Bronx, New York. Donald Trump and his daughter Ivanka in Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach, Florida in 1996. Ivanka Trump walks at the Mugler Haute Couture Autumn-Winter Show in 1997. Ivanka Trump poses for Harper's Bazaar in 2007. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner at the Narciso Rodriguez fashion show in New York City on September 9, 2007. In this handout image provided by Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner attend their wedding at Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, New Jersey on October 25, 2009. Ivanka Trump on holiday with her husband Jared Kushner in Porto Curvo, Sardinia on August 19, 2010. Donald Trump with his children from left, Donald John Don Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump and Eric Trump at Trump Tower in New York City on July 6, 2016. Ivanka Trump walks on stage to deliver a speech during the Republican National Convention at the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. Ivanka Trump, with her husband Jared Kushner and their children, depart after her father, President Donald Trump, formally signed his cabinet nominations into law in the President's Room of the Senate on Capitol Hill in Washington on January 20, 2017. Ivanka Trump arrives at the U.S. Capitol before the inauguration of President-elect Donald Trump in Washington on January 20, 2017. Vanessa and Donald Trump Jr., L., Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner salute the crowd after dancing on stage during the Freedom Ball at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center in Washington on January 20, 2017. President Trump and Ivanka Trump walked aboard Marine One as they head to F-500 Link Dover, F-500 Link Air Force Base from the South Lawn of the White House in Washington. Justin Trudeau sits alongside Ivanka Trump during a roundtable discussion on women entrepreneurs and business leaders in the Cabinet Room of the White House in Washington. Angela Merkel and Ivanka Trump talk before a meeting with President Trump and business leaders in the Cabinet Room of the White House in Washington, D.C. on March 17, 2017. Ivanka Trump attends a news conference with President Trump and Jordanese King Abdullah II in the Rose Garden at the White House on April 5th. President Trump listens while Ivanka Trump speaks during a video conference with NASA astronauts aboard the International Space Station in the Oval Office at the White House. At the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin, Germany on April 25, 2017. Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump board Marine One at the White House in Washington, D.C. for a trip to New York City on May 4th. President-elect Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner is seen as being pivotal to the incoming administration's Middle East efforts. Even though he is not likely to take a formal job within it, regional diplomats and Trump allies told CNN. Trump's Middle East team has been taking shape this week after he selected a former Republican governor and a close friend and real estate developer to take on key roles. But the close relationships that Kushner developed with leaders in the region over Trump's first 4 years in office and maintained in recent years will be hard to replicate, sources told CNN. Some former diplomats and critics of the Trump administration point out that Kushner has significant financial interests in the region, but many regional diplomats recognize the value of the deep relationships he has formed. No one on the incoming team has what Jared has, and that is trust. Jared earned it. He didn't have it at the beginning. He earned it. That takes time to build, said a regional diplomat who worked with Kushner during his time at the White House, noting that Kushner was relatively unknown to most players in the region before he became chief Middle East negotiator in the first Trump administration. Friendships are forever in this region, said an Israeli source who dealt with the first Trump administration, speaking to the deep personal relationships that Kushner developed and maintained with leaders throughout the region. My assumption is that his role is much more in his hands than anybody else's. Kushner is not likely to assume a formal role in Trump's second administration, but he is likely to serve as an outside advisor, said two sources familiar with his current thinking. Kushner is currently fully available to brief and advise all of those who will be working on issues related to the Middle East, said a source familiar with the situation, adding that he believes further progress is possible under Trump's leadership. Both Kushner and Trump would like to see a continuation of efforts to normalize relations between Israel and other Arab states following the Abraham Accords, a pact which normalized relations between Israel and the United Arab Emirates during Trump's first term, an effort made much more complicated given the ongoing wars in Gaza and Lebanon. Since Trump left office in 2021, Kushner and his wife Ivanka Trump have moved to Miami and largely exited politics. Kushner founded an investment fund, Affinity Partners, shortly after leaving Washington with major backing from sovereign wealth funds in the Gulf. Kushner has also maintained relationships with key players in the Middle East, including Israeli officials and leaders in the Arab Gulf. In particular, he has remained in contact with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the kingdom's de facto leader. During Trump's first term, Kushner became close enough with bin Salman that the men communicated over text, to the occasional frustration of career national security officials who were kept in the dark about the substance of the conversations. On Trump's first trip abroad to Saudi Arabia in 2017, Kushner and Ivanka Trump were feted alongside the president at a series of ceremonies and events. Later, Kushner would travel on separate visits to the kingdom for discussions with MBS that stretched late into the night. But Kushner's potential involvement this time comes with a new complicating layer. In recent years, his fund received $2 billion in funding from Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. That economic relationship will heighten scrutiny on Kushner's involvement. Some US diplomats are already concerned about Trump possibly pursuing a path prioritizing his family's financial interests over the national interest. Prioritizing Saudi Arabia's prosperity because it could help the Trump family is a major concern for US diplomats, said a current US diplomat, who remembers the secrecy surrounding Kushner's engagements during the first term, which in and of themselves created confusion. Yet, deploying Kushner might be seen as necessary out of the gates if Trump is to move as quickly as he has promised to end the wars in the region. Earlier this year, Trump said that Israel had to finish what they started in Gaza and get it over with fast. Kushner himself has not spoken extensively on the situation in the Middle East recently, but comments he made during an interview at Harvard this year did generate headlines. Gaza's waterfront property could be very valuable if people would focus on building up livelihoods, Kushner said in March. It's a little bit of an unfortunate situation there, but from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out and then clean it up, Kushner said. But I don't think that Israel has stated that they don't want the people to move back there afterwards. The comments sparked outrage from many in the region, especially given the immense toll that the war has taken on the Palestinian people. What we are seeing is an active and bloody conflict, with all that people in the Arab world see is babies being killed. Those comments were disturbing because Kushner was coming at this with very cold and materialistic language, which is very jarring for a people craving empathy. It was very, very tone-deaf, said Gaith Al-Omari, a senior fellow at the Washington Institute, who added he expects Kushner to steer clear of that kind of language going forward, particularly because it could inflame relations with other Arab nations like Saudi Arabia. Trump spoke last week with bin Salman following his election victory. It was his second call to the region following his conversation with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, an indication that he will prioritize the US-Saudi relationship. Kushner is also close to Israeli officials, including Netanyahu, who he has known since he was young. An anecdote emerged during Trump's first presidency that when he was a teenager, Kushner gave up his bedroom for a night so Netanyahu would have a place to sleep while visiting the Kushners' home in New Jersey. Kushner's recent meeting with Netanyahu's Minister of Strategic Affairs, Ron Dermer, was an indication of just how close Kushner has remained to Israeli officials. how efforts to normalize relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia proceed while the war in Gaza is raging and while the Israel-Hezbollah conflict continues to deepen is an open question. Yet key Trump allies are confident Kushner's framework still works. If you look at the plan that Jared put forward during the first term, that has all of the elements leaders in the region are seeking, said Brian Hook, a top State Department official in Trump's first term. I'm confident that that sort of thinking and working with the Palestinians and the Israelis, as much as circumstances will allow, are going to do a lot. Hook, who is leading Trump's State Department transition efforts, said last week on CNN International, a lot of Trump's nominees have read, or are reading, Kushner's book published in 2022 to understand the players and dynamics in the region, explained the source familiar with the situation. While some in Kushner's orbit question how much he will be relied on, there is agreement across the board. Among regional diplomats, US diplomats who worked on the region, people in Trump's orbit, and former Trump administration officials, that Kushner will have a hand in the administration's forthcoming approach to the Middle East, whether or not he is serving in the administration. Having a texting relationship with MBS proved productive during the first term, said a former Trump administration official. It is hard to see how that channel is not used going forward. There is an expectation that Kushner's relationships could be pivotal for discrete engagements to drive forth Trump's objectives in ending the conflicts and propelling US-Saudi normalization. I can see a world where Trump says, "Can you go meet with so-and-so?" said the first diplomat, specifically referencing possible engagements with Kushner and bin Salman. Kushner could be sent on missions or assignments. Both former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, who Trump picked as the next ambassador to Israel, and Steve Witkoff, who will lead the overall regional efforts, come to the job with relationships of their own. Yet how they work together, and with Kushner, remains an open question. Does Witkoff have an ego? That is the key question, explained Aaron David Miller, a former Middle East negotiator at the State Department, referring to Trump's longtime friend and real estate developer who will serve as his special envoy to the Middle East. If he wants to succeed and does not establish working relationship with Kushner and Rubio, Trump's Secretary of State pick, he is making a gigantic mistake. Witkoff has already reached out to countries in the region about arranging a visit, explained multiple sources, saying that the timing for those meetings is still being figured out. And in recent weeks, before Trump announced Witkoff for the job, he had an important meeting to review the portfolio and its players with Kushner. Ivanka Trump made a dazzling return to the political arena on election night when she stood by Father Donald Trump's side in Florida as he surged to victory in the 2024 presidential election. The moment marked a turning point for the two-time first daughter, who has all but turned her back on politics since her father officially left the White House in January 2021. In the years since, Ivanka has pursued a lifestyle more befitting an A-list celebrity, traveling the world, attending star-studded red carpet events, palling around with Kim Kardashian, and completing a gut renovation of a staggering $24 million mega mansion on Miami's Indian Creek Island. The mother of three purchased the immense six-bedroom, 8.5 bathroom compound with her husband, Jared Kushner, in April 2021. Images taken in the months after the sale closed revealed that the couple had gutted the home, leaving nothing but a bare shell that has since been transformed into one of the most enviable properties in the exclusive neighborhood, which is known as the Billionaire Bunker, thanks to its residents' incredible wealth. Work on the property went on for more than 2 years, with Ivanka hosting a birthday celebration there just weeks before the renovation was finally completed in November 2023. Property records reveal that Ivanka and Kushner, who both served as senior advisors to Donald during his first term as president, took out a $15 million mortgage when purchasing the home, which comes with a private boat dock and offers staggering views of Biscayne Bay. The couple purchased the home from billionaire Alex Meruelo and his wife, Lisette Meruelo. Located in an exclusive gated community where Tom Brady and Jeff Bezos also own homes, the property was described in its original listing as a magnificent, remodeled neoclassical masterpiece. However, Ivanka and Kushner's plans for the property have shed much of its neoclassical charm, making way for a modern and lavish look. The exterior was given a coat of gleaming white paint, and edgy black trim replaced the wooden accents on the facade. Glimpses of the interior, which Ivanka has shared on Instagram, reveal an equally modern transformation, with a more industrial vibe replacing the classic design elements. However, some of the bones of the original structure remain, including the 26-foot-high ceilings, the open living areas, and the opulent double staircase. The couple also retained the large water feature at the front of the property. In the lavish backyard, they ripped out and then reinstalled the swimming pool. According to the plans that were released by Miami-Dade County, the couple installed a chef's kitchen next to the dining room and outfitted the primary suite with double closets and a beautiful spa bathroom. The pool cabana out back was also given a total makeover, which saw a sauna, steam room and cold plunge pool installed. Having designed the home with entertaining in mind, the couple have hosted numerous celebrations at the property since they moved in at the end of 2023, most recently throwing a 98th birthday celebration for Ivanka's grandmother. In March, Ivanka invited several of her nearest and dearest to enjoy the stunning pool area while taking part in an evening of reflection and mindfulness held by her dear friend and teacher, Bob Roth, a transcendental meditation expert. However, the couple were no doubt drawn to one of Indian Creek Island's most celebrity-loved features: ultimate privacy. The neighborhood, which holds just 34 homes and 40-odd residents, is guarded by its very own police force, ensuring the utmost safety for its wealthy homeowners. Many of the Trump family now own homes in Florida, although Ivanka's siblings, Eric and Donald Jr., both chose to put down roots in Jupiter, which is a 2-hour drive north of her home. Jupiter is located much closer to the infamous Mar-a-Lago estate, where Donald Trump has spent much of his time since leaving the White House, and where he celebrated his election night victory alongside his children. Before moving into their palatial mansion, Ivanka and Kushner had been living in a sprawling condo in the Surfside neighborhood of Miami, where all 3 of their children, Arabella, 13, Joseph, 11, and Theodore, 8, attend school. Her father may have been voted into the highest office in the land, but have the results of the US election left Ivanka Trump feeling low? Deep down, did the former first daughter hope Kamala Harris might prevail? The idea that Ivanka, who appears to have made enormous amounts of money during her dad's first term, might have secretly been rooting for Harris seems preposterous. But consider for a moment the evidence, which is this: a blue pantsuit. Ivanka, who was absent for much of her dad's campaign, rocked up to Trump's victory party, creepy slumlord husband in tow, wearing a bright blue ensemble. Since blue is associated with Democrats, tongues started wagging. Was this a fashion statement or a political statement? Was Ivanka trying to send a message that she was Team Kamala? Online speculation has been feverish, but everyone can calm down now. I've finally solved the mystery of Ivanka and the blue pantsuit. I can now exclusively reveal that, based on a very strong hunch, I reckon the former first daughter wore blue because she thought it looked nice. That's it. No deeper meaning. Speculation around Ivanka's pantsuit does, however, point to a broader issue, something you might term damsel in distress syndrome. There seems to be this weird urge for some liberals to frame conservative women as misled victims of MAGA men who need to be saved. We saw it happen with Melania Trump, for example. She grimaced for a second during Trump's inauguration in January 2017, and a GIF of her expression immediately trended online with the hashtag #YashFreeMelania. An awful lot of people seem to decide that Melania, rather than being just as conniving and power-hungry as her spouse, deserved our sympathy. Damsel in distress syndrome also seemed to play into the Harris campaign's messaging strategy with conservative white women. There was a lot of buzz around an advert voiced by Julia Roberts, encouraging women to vote for Harris, regardless of what their husbands thought. Targeted Instagram ads also informed women that their vote was secret, the underlying assumption being that conservative women wanted to vote for Harris but were too intimidated to do so, which is patronizing as hell. I'm sure some white women might have felt pressure from their MAGA husbands to vote Trump, but the fact is, white women tend to vote Republican. They vote for what they consider to be their own best interests, and sometimes whiteness trumps womanhood. Benevolent sexism also appears to have influenced attitudes towards Usha Vance. Despite the fact that JD's wife is accomplished and ambitious and seems to have shaped the incoming vice president's political career, people seem keen to cast her in the role of the suffering wife. They seem to find it almost impossible to imagine she agrees with Trump's incredibly bigoted platform, particularly as the far right have targeted her with racist attacks. But just because you have brown skin and your parents were immigrants, it doesn't automatically mean you're going to lean left. Nikki Haley and Priti Patel are certainly testament to that. I don't know if Usha agrees with everything her husband has been saying, but she seems to want power just as much as he does. Then there's Ivanka. The former first daughter was complicit in her father's ghastly policies for 4 years, yet there are still people who seem to think she might not completely agree with him. And to be fair, that's not just damsel in distress syndrome, it's Ivanka's deliberate PR. Both she and Jared Kushner, her husband and partner in crime, were strategic about playing both sides during Trump's first term. Every time Trump advanced a policy that might be unpopular with Ivanka's former high society New York friends, anonymous sources would pop up in the media explaining that Ivanka and Jared were pressuring him to change his mind.